All right, so we're here. It's myself, Tayne, on the Rio team. I'm here with Luke Leavitt.
I'm from CSU Cycling.
I'm having Luke help me with some commentary on this crit, mostly because unfortunately the other Rio guys didn't make it to the end of this crit. So it's just gonna be me and Luke today. We both made it through this crit. Um, it's a very technical crit, and this year they made it more technical than previous years. They were at the CMU Maverick Classic Criterium. Um, so right off the bat, the corners just get progressively tighter. Um, this is one of the few crits of the year where, especially in the Colorado scene, where it's really important to line up on the front line, especially if you feel you're not confident in any of the corners. Like, this is the time to skip a good warm up if you have to, if things don't go well, and just get on the front of the pack. Because as you're about to see, just throughout this race, like, people are just start exploding left and right because this race gets really hard.
So yeah, that's a mistake my teammates and I made. We took a formation lap, but then we realized no one else took that lap with us, so we were managed to cut the course and get back to the line, but we were already fourth row at that point.
Yeah. The other unfortunate thing we get to watch in this video is my atrocious cornering. Coming back from a major crash I had a year and a half ago, still getting some cornering confidence back. So this is going to be a crit video, not the full 70-minute cut, but 20 minutes of how to race a crit just based on fitness and not skill, which Luke was definitely doing a better job that you'll see in this video. Yeah, so you can see already lap one. I started front row. I kind of intentionally started drifting back a bit, so you can already see I'm like almost 10th wheel. I'm struggling to hold the wheels though, especially on this straightaway. This is where the tailwind was on this section. So even when he did hit the corner perfectly, you would almost always get gapped unless you were in like the top like 3 wheels. It was consistently really hard. And then coming into corner 2 right up here, this is where the race would start to split apart. People coming out, they'd be buffeted by the headwind, and then coming to this intersection, you'd get just a random crosswind. And then as it opens up into this third and fourth corner, this is where people really start to make poor decisions. So yeah, kept losing wheels. People were definitely coming around me because I was not doing a great job holding the wheels in front. You can see in that big flag on the right, this is where the crosswind is. So everyone pretty consistently spreads across the right side of the road. Even though, especially because the road is so wide, it was a great spot to move up, but it required, burning a lot of matches. Yeah, still more some seemingly endless stream of CMU and Fort Lewis people just kept streaming past us, and we're only 2 laps in. This guy was fun to be behind. You can see it in some of the corners in the video, but I don't know what the mechanics on the Empire Cycling team were doing, but their rear wheels are not true. You could even see it on Luca Haynes and Ian Williams' bike on Fort Lewis. They have the same matching yellow bike, and yeah, you can watch their wheels wobble. Okay, so we fast forwarded a couple laps. Basically, all we missed was me continuously to fall back until right now. Luke comes around me. Right before this corner, he looked back because I yelled at him, "We need to move up." It was becoming pretty clear that people were starting to get shelled. Luke understood the assignment.
Yeah, so I was content sitting where I was, but Tayne said that, and I realized, yeah, I probably should move up. So I was able to get around. It looks like 2 riders there, and then keep going down the straight. It started to string out here basically every lap, and it was a big push to stay on the wheel.
Yeah, so even if you were hitting the corners perfectly, like I said before, you were still getting that concertina effect here, especially in the tailwind. You had to dig pretty freaking deep to just stay in the group. So right now I'm behind my Rio teammate Jade Road. He's racing for CMU this weekend. He's the one that filmed the previous video at the Golden Nugget crit. And yeah, this is the start of people like truly blowing up. So like I told Luke to move up because I could tell people were dying. Here goes Luke Mather from CU Boulder. His day was done. You can see if you look up the road, gaps are starting to open up. This is the danger of this crit, especially in this configuration this year. This is Sam Hart getting shelled out the back a little bit. The wind was such, and it was technical in just the right way, that if you drifted too far back, you could get really screwed. Like I'm dropping some big bombs to try and get back into this group. Luke did a much better job.
Yeah, I moved up just in time there, because just getting around those two guys saved me a lot of work with all those guys falling off the back there.
Yeah, and this was a pretty disappointing crit for me, just skill and technique wise, because there's a lot of this in this video of a lot of WAP bombs being burned that definitely should not have been burned. And unfortunately, it just is painful. Even though we have this massive tailwind, you look in the lower left-hand corner there, we're hitting 33 miles an hour down the straightaway. Everyone's going as fast or a little bit faster in the group. So pulling anything back is really hard. But yeah, eventually I crawl myself back onto Rob Dietz's wheel and Luke's wheel. I definitely dragged Sam Hart, that Fort Lewis kid that looked like he was getting dropped. He stays in this race because I brought him back. And then once we get back into this group, the work starts again to, slowly move up. And at this point, we're only like 15 minutes into the race, 9 laps out of 42. Pretty consistently in this race, every like 10 minutes, that was when people were blowing up. This is only a lap and a half later. People are leaving gaps again. This time I'm making Luke do a little bit of the work.
Mr. Wonky Wheel, he kept doing that all race. He would come around me and then just kind of sit up and open up a gap. It was pretty frustrating, but
yeah,
that's crit racing.
Yeah, and this is where Rob Dietz, this is where his day kind of ends. He blows up. I talked to him after the race, and he heard me yell at both Luke and Rob, and he dug just deep enough to hold on a little bit, and then he gave up, and then realized like a lap later he just should have stayed with us, because Luke and I managed to hang in the race for the rest of the time. So yeah, the big takeaway from this in particular was like, you just have to, especially on this course this day, it kind of holds for most of the races, but this is not a great course this year to tail gun, unless you're really confident with how hard you can snap out of a corner. It really paid off to just stay on those like top 10 wheels, just to make sure you were staying in that bubble up there. You could see this other kid, I'm forgetting his name now, I should have checked before this video. He also he exists with me and Luke for most of this crit, kind of yo-yoing off the back and making up for it most of the time, but not making it easier on himself.
So yeah, that pull you took right there, I think that saved my race. Without you, I don't think I would have gotten back on there, but yeah, that was great.
Yeah, our team director might not like to hear this, but once I realized that the other Rio boys that were with me this weekend were not in the race by this point, my goal quickly shifted to just trying to stay in and helping Luke out, because he has a pretty good sprint on him. So I do some volunteer coaching for CSU on the side, so I was always happy to try and help someone out. So right before this corner, you can see right through it, 2 guys go up the road. I surge a little bit to try and get up there, but then so did everybody else. There's Ben Stokes going. I try and slot onto why am I forgetting Luke Elphinstone's wheel. And at this point in the crit, I've kind of burned too many matches, so my kick is kind of gone. So it takes me a while to get back. But this is a pretty dangerous move. This is like the first of like the legit attacks that start going in this crit, that go on for the next like 30 and 40 minutes of people trying to get up the road. Ben Stokes is the guy that won the Golden Nugget crit, attacking out of our breakaway that we were in. At least for us this year, a lot of these CMU riders are pretty new. They're either freshmen or like they just transferred in. So they're kind of unknown quantities. Like clearly they're strong and they have good technical abilities, but we don't really know exactly how they fit in. Yeah, so there we go. We're about bringing it back. Another reshuffling is about to happen. Yeah, they're looking around. The CMU guys in particular just always had tons of numbers. So pretty much once we caught one thing, we might wait for like a lap, if that, but people keep going. Yeah, so it's hard to see through this corner, but another guy takes a flyer. Yeah, right here. This is one that I try and follow, but once again, I didn't quite commit enough to the snap, so I didn't quite get onto Anthony Hilgoss's wheel. But even regardless of that, I was willing to like follow this just to make sure I was staying at the front and not getting shot out the back.
The yo-yo effect was in full force at this race.
Yeah, this was definitely a race of it paid to put in a little extra effort to be further up, rather than just like staying in the wheels, really deep in the wheels, because you could get caught out so easily. And at a certain point here too, even if the numbers don't really show it, I do kind of ease up a little bit because there's definitely plenty of other teams that can be chasing this, so I'm not trying to close this down just entirely myself. I probably should have just dug deep to just close it as fast as possible, but yeah, just poor decision making on my part. But once you get this guy, roll through a little bit and just try and slow the group down at the very least, just so that I can get a bit of a rest. Right up ahead, you can see one of the CSU kids, Tony, getting pulled from the race. Yeah, all the other guys let me sit on the front here, but I'm actively trying to sit up because, yeah, I do not want to be up here, just waiting for the next attack to come. Yep, and then there they go. Yeah, there's Luca Haynes. His wheel is not quite as wobbly as his teammates. Fortunately for him. Yeah, Ben Stokes. Everyone's starting to come back around. And this is the point that everyone, with this big wide open road and the crosswind in full force, this is where everyone arguably, other than that start finish straight, this is where people dig the deepest. But yeah, Ian Anderson sends a flyer here. He's really dangerous. He's one of the few people that's ever stayed away in this crit, at least in the pro race. It was in the old version of the course, but he attacked from the gun with Colby Lang and just, breakaway, stayed away. It's a really hard course to get a break to go, at least in the pro race, unless you have lots of teammates that are, willing to hold people up. Yeah, and you can see right here, CMU just lost the wheel. They're happy with that move up there. There's two of their guys and one Ian Anderson. Ben sees that. He's like, well, we got to cut this out now. Once again, willing to follow, but not quite able to follow Ben. But they're also not that far ahead, so it's not a huge deal. It's not a huge danger yet. And I think that's Ian still up the road. These TCMU guys and Luca Haynes couldn't quite get him, so Ben just keeps going straight past. Ian's a pretty well-known quantity that he's pretty strong. So yeah, at this point, we're keeping the momentum moving, trying to follow the wheels. We're still only 16 laps in, so we're not even halfway through this crit. It was pretty freaking brutal. Yeah, this chase back, it just keeps stretching harder and harder. I definitely got goaded into doing more work than I should have in this crit. In the back of I try and justify it by saying I was doing it for Luke, but really it was.
I wasn't even on your wheel at this point. I was just tail gunning, trying to conserve energy.
Yeah, Luke was doing a much better job doing what he should have been doing in this crit. Yeah, so we do bring Ian back eventually. We fast forward a bit through the race. A lot of attacks like that keep going. People keep sending flyers, but they only last like a lap and a half. everyone's clearly strong enough that nothing's really getting away unless a bunch of teammates start sitting up. But then there's enough people like me that are willing to drag it all back.
But even Mesa, who has a big team, like they have people sitting up to try to block it, and it still wasn't working. They only got, I don't know, maybe we'll see how long this goes, but it probably wasn't more than a lap or two.
Yeah. So you see Patrick Welch starts flying through. He definitely did a good job only responding to a handful of attacks and letting the teams play off each other. But once Patrick starts going up the road, that's when all of us start to react, because Patrick's got a big engine. So if he and Ian Anderson get off the front, like that's a scary break to just let go. So 29 laps in, over halfway. Now we're all getting properly cooked.
Yeah, that corner onto the finish straight was starting to become a problem pretty much every lap.
Yeah,
kind of for a lot of us.
And it's hard to see in the video, but I don't remember it ever happening in other years. But for whatever reason, this year, all of us recognized that we were all like skidding our tires almost every corner. It was bizarre.
It was super bumpy, especially the right-hander coming up here. I felt like I was sliding quite a bit in that one, and a couple others as well.
Ironically, it was almost like being in like a cyclocross race or mountain bike race when you feel your tires slide a little bit through the corner, but it's a mountain bike or cross bike, so like you're used to it sliding a little bit. It's pretty unnerving on the road bike, feeling it shattering across the road. So people just keep going over the top of each other. We're all just throwing everything at the wall at this point, everybody. Trying to see what's going to stick, if a breakaway's finally going to go. But clearly no one really wants a break to go. Everyone wants to be in a break, but no one's willing to just let it happen. So there's another regrouping happening. I think this is where we're about to fast forward again. Couple laps later. Yeah, this straightaway. This is probably one of the best times I stayed on the wheel. You can if you look at the lower left, we're also going slightly slower than some of the other laps. So this is last 3-4 laps of the race. Yep. Nothing's gone away. It's clearly going to go down to a sprint, or at least a reduced group. This is about the point. I think I already told Luke this, that like I had nothing else to give him. So at a certain point, I should have probably just committed to not finishing this race and just letting the wheels go. And then for whatever reason decided, nah, I got to finish this race. I got to help my boy Luke out.
Well, on this next lap, you kind of got a second wind. Second and last.
Third, fourth, fifth wind, something like that.
But you started pulling hard. So.
Yeah, I think this is Cyrus Perot pulling through. Oh, maybe this isn't Cyrus, but this is one of the Chalet riders. He kind of gets me back in the group. If you look up, huge gaps are starting to form. The CMU guys are doing a lead-out train for Luke Elphinstone, and they're just ripping it up at the front. Like they're all gas is fully open, pedal to the metal. This is where I find that last final wind. I see Luke's missed the gap, and I'm just like, nope, I'm not letting this happen. So all these guys are looking up because they're clearly like, well, damn, we all missed out. Ian Williams just went past. He was working for Luca. He got Luca where he needed to be, which is not where we are. I can see Luke up the road. I'm trying to use these wheels. I see Ben Stokes getting Luke back. There's Sam Hart and Jake Olander in front of me.
I didn't really start going that much harder here, but everyone kind of just dropped back. So I found myself by myself, and I tried to close that down, but obviously that's a pretty unrealistic task. There's a big gap, and I was pretty cooked at this point. So I get brought back here.
Yeah, this is where the afterburners turn on. Those boys definitely sat up because their leader Luca Haynes is already up the road. So, I mean, their days are done. At this point, they're racing for personal pride. So this is second to last lap. At this point, I think I yell at Luke. You might see him turn his head, and right there, I yell at him like, "I'm coming, boy. I'm coming to help, baby." I'm pretty sure there's a certainly Ben Stokes is still on my wheel. I think it's the Adventure Cycling Kit is still on my wheel, or we're about to pick him up. So yeah, those guys in front of us. That's not even the front of the race. This is like the top five are long gone. They're in that corner up ahead. Um, these guys have clearly given up or they're too cooked. I'll probably scream at them like coming around, right side, right side. They looked, they're like, who the heck? We're done with the race. You guys have missed it already. What are you doing? I'm like, I don't care. I got something to prove. This is the point in the race that I finally, hit the corners well. It took 70 minutes, but we're finally there. I don't know what it was like for Luke on the back. I just kept looking back occasionally. I was like, well, he's kind of still there.
Yeah, I think I don't exactly remember, but I think I was hanging on pretty well. I was very glad to have a wheel to sit on at this point because clearly the race just totally blew up.
Yeah, so coming into this last lap, we're like kind of pulling the gap back, just like a little bit. Ben gives a big pull. It's on the tailwind section, so like we're not really getting a draft anyway. At this point, Ben, it's just like he's given his last effort. I don't really know what Ben was going for. If he thought he was going to drop us, if he was also just had something to prove. But yeah, he gaps me a little bit, and then I think we end up passing right before this corner, and then we never really see him again. Just digging deep. Yeah, we're just like bringing back maybe like half a second on the corners. There's a part of me that's hoping, well, I don't know, the teammates up ahead are just sitting up. I think I know that we're maybe top 6. That's what we're fighting for. This point, we can kind of see them. There's top 5, but they're kind of not that far away. So I like kind of had hope alive. Not really, but at this point we were just on a roll. I was just hoping that Luke behind me was ready to come around in the corner or something.
Yeah, I didn't quite make it around you, but I did manage to stay on your wheel, and I also stayed ahead of Ben and a couple others who were right in our area. So it was a worthwhile effort.
Yeah. So we're coming around. I still end up sprinting at the very least. Heck, just for the practice. What is it like sprinting out of that last corner, going for something? This Adventure Cycling kid just hit me at the line, and then right here, one of the guys that got second, he crashed right after the line from posting up. He hit a bump in the road. Yeah, that's CMU Crit finishing 7th and I think 8th for you.
Yep.
Another very hard edition. Thanks for watching.